Most people think tomorrow is a place where dreams come true, but the truth is, tomorrow is a lie we tell ourselves to escape today. We say, I'll start tomorrow. I'll change tomorrow. I'll be confident tomorrow. But that tomorrow never comes because we keep pushing life one day ahead. You see, there's no magic day waiting for you. The only day that matters is the one you're breathing in right now. If you wait for tomorrow to learn, to act, to change, you'll spend your life waiting because tomorrow is like a mirage in the desert. You keep walking toward it, but it keeps moving away. Don't wait for a perfect time. Make today the day you take one small step, even if it's messy, even if it's small. The people who succeed are not the ones who wait. They are the ones who act, even when they don't feel ready. So ask yourself right now, if not today, then when? This is a story of a boy named Daniel. Daniel always said, I'll start learning English tomorrow. But his tomorrows turned into weeks, and his weeks into years. He wanted to travel, to speak fluently, to connect with people around the world. But every night, he told himself the same excuse. I'll start when I have more time. One evening, while scrolling through his phone, he saw a video. A man said, "You don't need more time. You need more discipline." That line hit Daniel like a wave. He realized he had been waiting for the perfect moment that never existed. So the next morning, he woke up, made coffee, and opened his notebook. He studied for just 15 minutes. It wasn't much, but it was real. That single day changed everything. Because when you stop waiting for the right moment, you start creating your own moment. Daniel didn't become fluent overnight, but he did something even more powerful. He became consistent. And consistency, my friend, is stronger than motivation. Because motivation fades, but consistency builds your life, word by word. You don't need to be perfect today. You just need to start like Daniel did. Because when you start now, your future self will thank you. 2 weeks passed. Daniel was doing great, studying every morning, watching English videos, practicing pronunciation. But then life happened. Work got busy. His boss gave him extra hours. He skipped one day, then two, and soon, a whole week. He felt guilty. He thought, maybe I'm just not meant for this. One night he sat on his balcony watching the city lights. He whispered to himself, why do I always stop halfway? That's when a thought came to him. Maybe learning isn't about being perfect. It's about coming back every time you fall. So he opened his notebook again. He didn't start from the beginning. He just continued from where he stopped. Because the secret of growth isn't in never falling, it's in never quitting. He studied one page. Just one. But that one page changed his mindset. He realized progress doesn't disappear when you pause. It only disappears when you give up. It's okay to pause. It's okay to rest. But it's not okay to quit. Every comeback builds strength. Every restart writes a new chapter in your story. So if you ever stop, just remember Daniel. He didn't start over, he continued forward. 3 months later, Daniel was sitting in a small cafe, studying like usual. He had no idea that today would be different. As he sipped his coffee, a tourist couple walked in. They were lost, looking for a bus stop. The man asked, "Excuse me, do you speak English?" Daniel froze for a second. His mind went blank. Then, almost without thinking, he said, "Yes, yes, I do." And just like that, he started speaking. His sentences weren't perfect, but they worked. The couple smiled, thanked him, and left. Daniel sat there, heart racing, eyes wide. He had just spoken English in real life. That moment changed everything, because that's when he realized something powerful. Learning English isn't just about memorizing words. It's about using them, even if you're scared. He smiled to himself, whispering, "I did it. Not perfectly, but truly. That day, Daniel didn't learn grammar or vocabulary. He learned confidence. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from trying when you still know so little. And that's when he stopped saying, I'm learning English. He started saying, I speak English. Because every word you dare to use is a word you truly own. Your first victory might be small, but that small moment can open the biggest door. Don't wait to be perfect before you start speaking, because fluency grows only when you use what you've learned. One brave word can change your world. A few weeks after the cafe moment, Daniel's company announced something unexpected. All employees must attend the international meeting next Friday, and Daniel's name was on the list as one of the speakers. He froze again. Him? Speak English? In front of foreigners? His hands started to shake. His mind whispered, You're not ready. But then, he remembered the day at the cafe, that one small victory. He thought, I wasn't ready then either, but I still did it. So he took a deep breath, stayed up late each night, practicing his lines in front of the mirror. He wrote down every sentence, corrected his pronunciation, and repeated it again and again. When the day came, he stood on stage. The lights were bright. The audience waited. He took another breath and spoke, not perfectly, not fluently, but clearly and with heart. He made a few mistakes, but people smiled. They understood him. They clapped. That applause wasn't for perfect grammar. It was for courage. That day, Daniel learned something that no textbook could teach. People don't remember your mistakes. They remember your message. And that's what English is for. Not perfection, but connection. You don't need a perfect accent to make people listen. You need courage. Every word you speak with honesty creates a bridge between hearts. So speak, even if your voice shakes. Because courage, not grammar, is what truly makes you fluent. After that meeting, something unexpected happened. A few of Daniel's co-workers came up to him. They said, Your English isn't perfect, but when you spoke, we felt your heart. Daniel smiled. He realized he didn't just give a speech, he gave hope. Soon, others began to ask him, How did you learn? How do you practice speaking? And Daniel found himself helping them, teaching small tips, sharing his notes, even correcting their sentences with kindness. He had started as a learner, but now he was becoming a teacher. Every day during lunch, he gathered a small group at the cafe. They called it English Circle. No books, no tests. Just talking about movies, travel, dreams. At first everyone was shy, but slowly, laughter replaced silence. Mistakes turned into lessons, and fear turned into friendship. Daniel realized something magical. When you help others grow, you grow twice as fast, because teaching forces you to think deeper, to speak slower, to understand clearer. That's when Daniel finally understood what fluency really means, not speaking fast, but speaking with clarity, confidence, and connection. When you speak, you don't just use language, you share emotion. When you help others, you don't just teach, you transform yourself. Remember, your English doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful. It just needs to be real. Months passed. The English Circle became the highlight of Daniel's week. Every session brought new laughter, new confidence, and new stories. One evening, one of his friends said, Daniel, you should share this online, so more people can learn like we do. At first, Daniel laughed. Me? Teaching online? I'm not perfect. But that night he couldn't stop thinking about it. He remembered how scared he was on that first day, and how one small step changed everything. So he recorded a short video on his phone. He looked straight into the camera and said, Don't wait for tomorrow to start learning English. Begin today, even if it's just one word. He uploaded it. and went to sleep. The next morning, his phone was full of messages, comments from people all around the world. "Thank you, Daniel. I was afraid to start, but your video gave me courage." The video went viral, and suddenly, the English Circle wasn't just a cafe group anymore. It became a global community. From India to Brazil, Japan to Nigeria, people began creating their own circles, inspired by Daniel's message. They shared stories, practiced together, and spread one truth. Fluency begins the moment you stop waiting. Daniel watched the messages pour in with tears in his eyes. He realized what started as his weakness had become his gift. And in that moment, he whispered to himself, "I didn't just learn English, I learned life." Sometimes, the moment you stop chasing perfection, the world starts noticing your authenticity. When you use your voice with honesty, it echoes farther than you can imagine. And that's what English and life are truly about: connection, courage, and contribution. It's been 2 years since Daniel spoke his first hesitant sentence in that little cafe. Now, he speaks to millions of learners around the world, not as a teacher, but as a friend. His English isn't flawless. He still makes mistakes sometimes, but that never stopped him again, because he learned the greatest truth of all. Fluency isn't perfection, it's progress. And progress is built one brave step at a time. When people ask Daniel, "What's your secret?" he smiles and says, "There's no secret. I just stopped waiting for the perfect day, because the perfect day doesn't exist, but this day does. And this day is enough to change everything." He looks at his old notebook. The first page still says, "Day 1." He turns the pages, now filled with words, dreams, and courage. Then he whispers, "If only I had known earlier that the biggest mistake is waiting." Maybe you're like Daniel once was, afraid to start, afraid to fail. But remember, the fear of starting is always smaller than the pain of regret. Every language, every dream, every goal begins the same way, with one small, imperfect step. So stop waiting for tomorrow. Start speaking today. Start learning today. Start living today. Because the truth is, tomorrow doesn't build your life. Today does. So pick up that notebook, say that one new word, take that one brave step. And when someone asks you how you became fluent, you'll smile and say, "I stopped waiting." There will always be a reason to wait. But the world only changes for those who act now. Your accent doesn't matter. Your mistakes don't matter. What matters is that you begin. Because one day, like Daniel, you'll look back and realize the best decision you ever made was to stop waiting for tomorrow. Start now. Your future self is watching. If Daniel can start with one word, so can you. Your story begins when you stop waiting. Write one English line in the comments. This is your first step. Don't wait for tomorrow. If you like this story, like and subscribe for more, and also share with your loved ones so they don't wait for tomorrow. Make sure you come back and learn English from Tales. Thank you.